like to welcome the one and only Joel Hoekstra to the program. Welcome, Joel. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much.
So, congratulations are in order. You've got Running Games coming out in February 21st. Is that right?
February 12th.
12. Okay. We've already heard.
21st for the dyslexic people. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
That may have been the issue. The first single's already out. Sounds great. And I've got to go. I'm going to jump ahead of myself a little bit, but because I know you did the production on this, and I've got to compliment you on the running order, because I think that having the title track as the last cut is a really strong choice.
Oh, cool. Thanks so much. That was one of the it was the last edition of the album. I was like, it needs something. And I was out up late at night, and I wrote that song really fast. Running Games came together faster than any song on the album, and I was like, I really like it. I want to include it. So everybody had basically recorded already, but I was like, I'm just going to get percussion on there. Don't even really need the band. Tony Franklin was nice enough to play bass on there still, but
right.
Basically I just got Russell to sing one more song for me after the fact, and there it is. It's on the album.
Yeah, I think it's a great album closer. A nice tempo change, and it's just a good mellow. Not that the album's mellow by any means, but it's just a good ease out, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's lyrically it ties everything together.
Sure. And I should mention this album. You've got, of course, in addition to yourself, you've got Tony Franklin on bass, Russell Allen on vocals, Derek Sherinian on keys, Vinny Appice on drums. And I had not looked into all the credits yet, but I started playing the album before I knew all the specifics. Within 30 seconds, I'm like, I hear Jeff Scott Soto in there somewhere. And sure enough, he's on background vocals. But
yeah, I know. He's very identifiable. So yeah, Jeff is the most overqualified background singer in the world, I like to say. But we're friends, so he helps me out with this.
Yeah. And he did on your last one as well, did he not? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's been a tough year for everybody. But I know in 2019, I mean, you were on the road with Whitesnake, Cher, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Was a little downtime a welcome change for you?
No, not really, because I had a great year ahead with Whitesnake, and I was very excited about that. I mean, we had an amazing year ahead, and so I was kind of looking forward to another great year with Whitesnake, and then the TSO tour at the end of the year. So it seemed to be about the right balance. So yeah, you're right. The year before, I was on the road for 285 days out of the 365. So that was maybe a bit much, but this one was going to strike a better balance. It was just like an awesome bunch of runs with Whitesnake and then TSO at the end of the year. So I was pretty psyched about it. And we started the year just great, going down to Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, Singapore with the Scorpions. So things started out great. And then we were headed to Japan, and that's where everything just hit the brick wall for 2020. And came home, and man, it's just, but things have been great. I don't want to cast a negative vibe over the whole thing, because everything's been fine. I've gotten a ton of work done. I'm extremely busy, busier than ever actually right now. It's just a totally different landscape. I'm just not traveling the world to do it.
Right. So yeah, so maybe it opened some new opportunities for you, and you definitely made the most of it with a great new album. So there's things to be positive things to be had from every situation, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all things considered, right now, I mean, I've been doing master classes as well, but I teach one-on-one and been teaching about 30 students a week. And I've been doing about 3-4 sessions a week. And I've been doing personalized greetings on Cameo. I'd say a good 7 or 8 of those a week. And that, along with finishing my album and creating quarantine jams to keep people interested and give people cool surprises. I've got something cool coming out with that as well. I mean, I'm really busy with all that, man. Like exceedingly busy. So and it's just doing something totally different. That's all. It's just not traveling the world.
Sure. Now, with a label like Frontiers, do you have final say on what is released as singles? Is that totally up to you, or does the label have input, or how does that work nowadays?
The label pretty much, I'm trying to think. I mean, I picked the running order and what songs would be on it. And they were cool with that. And then this time around, they're pretty casual over there. I mean, if there's something they feel strongly about, they'll be like, hey, let's do this. But they picked the singles and we sort of debated about one of them. And then we just met at a compromise for the third one that you guys will hear eventually on the day the album comes out. So the labels are always interested in getting it placed on playlists and things like that, right? With streaming and
Sure.
Artists, we just look at like, what are the three best songs? I mean, it's
Right.
like that's pretty much the way it works for me. So now this single, the first one, "Hard to Say Goodbye," was actually originally slated to be the second one, but the first one we're going to do a little special production on, I think. So the next single that comes out, so it's going to be a little cool special production to accompany it when it's released. So anyway,
Very cool.
That worked.
Now the album's got a great sonic quality. What do you think you honestly spent more time playing and writing the material or producing?
Uh, I, hmm. I mean, I think the mix is its own instrument, once you get to
Sure.
that point in time. So thank God Chris Collier's very open-minded with all that. And he puts up with all my mix notes and all the ideas that I want to try. But yeah, I think it's an instrument unto itself. Once you played everything, you got all the parts and everything's down, then it's a really great feeling, because then it's like finally you can just listen to this like a listener and
Right.
not have the hassle of playing guitar or whatever, worrying about somebody else's performance. If you know the performances are there, then it really just comes down to, all right, how do you make this song work in
Right.
production?
Yeah, but you bring up a great point. It really is an art unto itself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, it just feels good, like I said, to get to that final stage of like, wow, now I can just listen to this stuff like a listener and look at the whole album that way.
Now, did you do this album remotely due to the pandemic and all that? Like, we're
Yeah, I
all
mean,
busting in the tracks.
pretty much do that anyway these days. Everybody does. I mean, I think regardless of COVID, everybody's pretty much like tracking in their home studios these days and sharing files. That's just the way things are done.
Right.
Initially, that was deemed like this bad thing because everybody wasn't in the room together. But I mean, honestly, I have to say, if I were going to do guitars for somebody, I'd probably do a better job when I'm home alone, because I'll do 10 million takes until it's great.
Yeah,
And if you're in a room with a bunch of other people and everybody wants to go eat lunch, or everybody's like, "Hey, that's enough," people might move it along, and say, "Hey," and you might be a little more tempted to go, "Yeah, it's fine." So I think that for me, I think it brings out the best in people to let them record alone and not have that pressure of everybody looking at them. So they also don't have to feel afraid to mess up. So if they want to try something where they might make a mistake, if they're all alone, they don't care. And if they're in a room full of people tend to play kind of safe.
Right. That's great. And you answered my question before I even asked it. And that's great insight, because I was wondering if it actually goes smoother and quicker independently like that. Because if you're all in like the old days, a band in a room, there's a tendency to infinitely jam and rehash ideas. And like, what if we tried this? What if we tried this? And you just have, there's no end in sight. And like you mentioned, the interruptions and the pressure of being around people, where if you're by yourself, you can just hone in and just do it.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not necessarily making a case against recording together, because there's something to be said for that as well. But I just think like the remote thing gets a bad rap unnecessarily, because you can get everybody's best playing that way as well, I feel like. So, there's something to be said for it.
Definitely, definitely. Hey, we've got a couple questions from some of your fans that wanted to chime in. So I just picked a couple. Anne Marie, she says you've mentioned in the past, and of course you played a lot, is your 57 Gold Top is one of your favorites. What makes it special to you?
Well, the sound and the feel, but the history of it, because that guitar has traveled around the world with me everywhere. It's just been everywhere, even when it hasn't been on stage as part of the tour. Like with Whitesnake, I always have it with me, and it's in the hotel rooms, and I'm recording and jam practicing and backstage, and so it's just been everywhere with me. So a lot of it is that, but it's also obviously the way it plays and the way it sounds.
And Lisa, live and studio are two different worlds. Do you have a preference between the two, and if so, why?
No, I really don't. They're just two different things, and I love them both a lot. So, um, yeah, I really enjoy both. I mean, I like to record and I like to perform, and there's something to be said for each. The better playing out of me usually happens in the studio.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I want to make sure that everybody knows, just where to stay in touch with everything, how to get the new album, pre-order it, what's the best social media sites to follow you on, that kind of thing to get up to date on you.
Yeah, everybody can just start at my .com, which I have a difficult name, so I'll spell it Joel, Joel, Hoekstra, Hoekstra.com. And you can link over to any of my stuff from there. I do all those, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So pick your poison.
Sure.
But I'm pretty good about getting back to most people and try to post actively. So it's not just, once a month somebody hopping on and posting something. So
no, you're on there pretty regularly. Yeah, like on Twitter and things. Yeah, I see you a lot pop up. So all the celebrity deaths this year, which one do you think personally hit you the hardest? Or the most impact, I should say?
Well, I mean, I'd say Eddie Van Halen just because, he was a special guitar player, I think, just in terms of his, just his approach to the instrument, man. Innovative, but very organic. Like, I mean, just everything about his style just oozed rock and roll, because it was like, I think him and Alex just spent so much time jamming together. I mean, it's almost like he just kind of grew up jamming and partying.
Right.
And then brought that to the stage. So he was just a very unique, organic guitar player that I, don't know we're going to run across nowadays, because people don't necessarily have the avenues to perform live as much. And anyway, you gotta tip the cap to Eddie. I mean, he was one of a kind.
Yeah, definitely. He was my musical hero growing up. Absolutely. The technique was like proto shredder, if that makes sense. And so it was still like I can fathom the note count. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it was different times, I don't think
Right.
Eddie Van Halen was ever really obsessed with playing fast. I think he was, I think it was just his vibe of being like slick and innovative and fun. And he found things that were techniques that were sounded cool more than like, like check out how hard this is to play.
Right.
So, I mean, there's plenty of solos with Eddie that were just melody and just all about the songs. But it's just a great riff player, great guitar player, man.
Well, cool. And I want to thank you again, Joel, for taking the time out. And I am looking forward to the release. And I want to urge everybody to by all means support the artist and buy the CD if you can, and buy the physical product. And I know either way the music gets out, it's a plus. But it's always nice to support the artist.
Cool. So, yeah. Thank you so much.
So much. Well, we'll be talking again soon, Joel, and I appreciate it.
All right. Cheers. Thank you so much.
All right, bud. Later.